Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 3 in the Fast and Furious files. Thank you for being a little patient with this. We had some real life issues that sort of took precedent, but so we're getting back on track with the Fast files today. And just to make sure we stay on schedule, we'll be combining 2 movies for the price of 1 episode. We'll be talking about Tokyo Drift today and Fast and Furious, the 4th film. And joining me today, as always, is my Fast co-host.
It's Jonathan.
And like we said, we're talking about Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious. So we'll get into Tokyo Drift just to keep things nice and speedy. Tokyo Drift came out July 16th, 2006, and this is the directorial debut of Justin Lin in the series.
Yeah, who doesn't he basically is like creative lead now, right?
Like essentially, and he's like the longest served director because he directs Fast 3 through 6 and then 9 through 10. And this is also, he's like the longest served director. He's like the most, he's pretty much synonymous with the franchise at this point. This is also the entry into this series by Chris Morgan. He was the writer for the film, and he would write several more films. He written Fast 4 through 7 and Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
So, and plus there's some really like neat stuff that sort of like came up with his writing that we'll get into in a bit, and how it leads into Fast 4.
All right.
And yes, like this is actually I guess what we call it, like a side piece in the Fast franchise.
It's kind of even though it's, I guess, technically a numbered movie, it's a spin-off kind of, but it's like a sequel to like 6 or 7.
Yeah, because a bit of spoiler alert that after this movie, the timeline starts to get a little wibbly-wobbly, and that's just because they introduced one of the best characters in the franchise in this film.
Well, I think the best character in the franchise.
And plus, he sort of goes along with this entirely new cast, because we have Lucas back as the main character, Sean.
A totally convincing teenager, by the way.
Yes, like the most teenager I ever like. He's on par with Finn Wolfhard in terms of teenagerness.
Oh yeah, you got Finn Wolfhard, you got the other kids from Stranger Things, and you got the kid from Tokyo Drift.
And we have Natalie Kelly as love interest Neela. We have Sung Kang as Han.
Hell yeah, Han Solo. Oh,
his pseudonym,
I guess. I don't know,
because like he's called Han Solo in a freeze frame. If you go into check on like a close up on one of the, is it in 5 that we get Han Solo as his?
Yeah, yes. Because
in he's also credited as Han Lu. So Han Solo, amazing name, is like his,
because it's spelled like the city of Korea, Seoul -OH.
So that's like his like criminal name.
Probably.
And we have Bow Wow as Twinkie.
God. And they just keep calling him Twink the entire time.
Apparently completely unaware of the other definitions for the word twink. Brian T as the bad guy, Takashi, a.k.a. the Drift King.
Or DK.
DK. His right-hand man, Leonard Nam, who plays Morimoto. And Sonny Chiba as Uncle Kamada, the Yakuza leader.
Oh, man. This movie is really stupid. But it's fun.
Because even though Tokyo Drift wasn't like well liked in its time, but it sort of found its appreciation because people like enjoyed Justin Lin's directing, and of course Sung Kang as Han became like a huge. It's like one of the unanimous positive things that people have said about the film. They really enjoyed his character.
Yeah, and of course the fucking soundtrack bops.
Yeah, like the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift song, as it's a self-titled song, it's still a banger even after all these years.
And like a lot of the other songs on the soundtrack fucking slap. I mean, I have it on my Spotify for a reason.
Yeah, when I was making my notes for the Tokyo Drift version, I was playing that song on loop. Dun, 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 dun. And just have like a complete revitalization from TikTok alone.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, let's get it going, because we open up in ostensibly Alabama. No,
the character's from Alabama. I don't know where the
yeah, we're gonna say California or somewhere because Sean, the lead character, the most convincing high school student that's ever been put to cinema.
Cough, cough, sarcasm, cough, cough.
Because, like, in the movie, he's ostensibly 18, but he looks like he's 26, minimum.
Oh, I was going to say, like, 40, but...
And the thing is, like, Lucas Black wasn't that old when he was, like, 22. But
he was in his early 20s, but... He's like Bruce Willis in the sense that he's always looked 44.
Yeah, he just has like old, like middle-aged man face.
Yeah, and he's just fucking hairy as shit.
Yeah, because like there's a point later in the film where he's like, I got to sneak into the bathhouse to get something for plot relevance, and he just has like full chest bush, and he's supposed to be like a teenager, but. He's a little bit of a loner and just like rabble-roused in high school, where the cock of the walk, hot kid on the block is
the fucking kid from Home Improvement.
Yeah, like the oldest kid from Home Improvement, Zachary Ty. Is it Ty? You know who he is?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And plus, I'm not convinced that he's not the bastard son of Chris Jericho from somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I see it.
And so, like, he gets into a guff. It's like, oh, yeah, you fucked up my car, or I can drive faster than you, punk. And they have, like, this big street race in this Shangri-La subdivision.
Yeah, where, like, this construction side of the subdivision. And like, just, like, the lead up to this race is kind of stupid. Like, just, like, it doesn't make sense. Because the old fucking Home Improvement kid is just... I don't know. He's being a fucking Chad and he's trying to be a Chad, but he's not a Chad. And like throws a baseball through his fucking thing, through Lucas Black. Fuck, what's his Sean? God, I can't fucking talk. Throws baseball through his window, and then it's like, oh, you fucked up my car, my guy. And then like fucking Zachary Ty Ryan or whatever the fuck his name is. His girlfriend is like, whoever wins gets me. And it's like...
Because, like, she was cutting eyes at Sean when he was walking through the metal detector at school.
Yeah, but then, like, she's just, like, very flippant, like, on and off with both of them. And it's like, wow, I can tell this was written by a man.
It was just, like... And also another thing that was just weird and uncomfortable is, like, them busting the... Native American piñata at the pep rally.
Oh yeah, that
was very yikesy.
That's what we call not a good look.
And so, like, anyway, they go back to we're back at the subdivision, and they're just like bracing, and everybody's like
like to fucking Ba Wa Da Ba by fucking Kid Rock on loop. Because the scene goes on for like 10 minutes. And I know that song is not 10 fucking minutes.
And plus with a lot of Fast and Furious films, they just blow through licensed songs in this movie.
Oh my god, there's one, I think it might be in Tokyo Drift, where they run through like 5 songs in like a span of like 30 seconds.
Because like every time they walk into a room at a party, another licensed song starts playing.
Yeah.
So, like, these kids, they're being, like, hood rats, and they're just, like, running through, and, like, this construction site, and Sean is literally blowing through semi-built houses to, like, cut ahead to get ahead of Zachary Ty Ryan. And then he's like, oh, hell no, you're not getting my girl. And he starts, like, trying to ramrod the car, and then they end up fucking up. The kid, football kid hits a fucking, like, concrete pipe, bisects his car, and Sean's car flips, like, 18 dozen times in the most gnarly car crash, and he's just like, well, shit.
Yeah, like, the fucking car is demolished, and he just has, like, a little bit of blood just coming down his forehead. It's like... Son, you should have died.
But
like every roll, you should have died.
But if we learn anything from Fast and Furious to come, death is
relative,
very much so. It's like I would say Kingdom Hearts death is more sticky than this series.
I mean, you're not wrong, but granted, we don't come to this series for fucking realism. Let's be honest.
But then everybody's holed up at the police station. Their ass got in trouble for destroying a all these cars and subdivisions. And then, like, Sean's mom comes in, and then it's implied that she has sex with the cops in order to get him off his, like, arrest things.
Like, the whole, like, logistics of this, basically the plot to get him to Tokyo makes no goddamn sense. Because apparently he's on his last leg. He's fucked up too many times. And the cop lets him know that. He's like, son, you poor as shit. You can't buy your way out of this. But then his mom, I guess, gives fucking officer a blowy. And then there's like, okay, you won't go to jail unless you leave the country. Which I've never heard anything like that happening IRL. But like I've said before, we don't come to this series for realism. We come here for the bullshit.
Because, like, he hops on a plane to go to Japan where his Navy dad has been staying the whole time, apparently.
Yeah, and it seems like the movie can't decide on whether the dad's, like, a deadbeat or, like, legit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, the way he's introduced, it's sort of like a deadbeat dad sort of thing. But then as the movie goes on, he's more of, like, the stern, strict military dad. It's like,
because I'm in the military, I don't know how to express my feeling toward my son and be a proper parent. I guess. I mean, you can say inconsistency of character. You can also say character growth. Who knows? It's just vague enough that it could be both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
So he gets set up in a closet and he goes to Japanese school, which he's late for his first day.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, he doesn't speak the language and, you know, shit ensues. Then they meet he then meets, what's his face?
Bow Wow.
Twink. God, I can't get over that. Meets Twink at lunch with, like, another joke that does not age well at all. Where he says, what was it? Oh, the food here is like the military. Don't ask, don't tell. And it's like, ooh, oof.
Also,
big oof.
Was Sean sent to, like, the bougie Japanese high school? Because, like, they're eating, like, some high-end shit.
I don't know. Like, and the school he went to in America was, like, pretty upscale as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God, is this what these writers think school is like?
Because, I mean, of course there are bougie schools, but, like...
I mean, that's not, at least in America, that's not the average.
No, that's some kind of, like, private school.
Like, I mean, granted, we live in the middle of fucking Alabama, but even, like, the nicest schools here are nowhere near as nice.
Are just okay. And so, speaking of Alabama experiences,
oh my God.
let's just address something right off the bat here. Homeboy has the worst Alabama accent I've ever heard.
And I mean, and it's not that he's a terrible actor, he's just a plank of wood.
Yeah, like he's just kind of there.
Yeah, and like, it's almost like the movie isn't really about, like, he's like, because it's a fish out of water story, basically.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming to this strange land, you know, learning these strange customs and everything, has to learn a new type of racing. So, like, like his character in a lot of ways gets kind of put on the back burner.
It almost feels like his character is just like a plot device. In order for the plot to happen, they just need somebody like this, like, blank CG model maquette to just fill that spot of a protagonist because they didn't have anybody else. But it is funny because Paul Walker was originally considered for this role. But then they didn't ask him to come back because they felt he was too old for what the story needed.
Which, I mean, yeah, but, like, also, this guy looks like he's 45. Like, he legit looks older than Paul Walker would have.
Yeah, but older than Paul Walker did in Too Fast, Too Furious, which is 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So explain how that works.
Yeah, which, like, and this sort of just ties into Sean's character, but, like, the main parts of this movie are just bland and don't really work. Like, Sean, the love interest, I totally forgot her name because she's just that, you know, unimpressionable. And kind of the main plot is just there, but it's just sort of the weird eccentric accessory bullshit.
It's like the fringes of the movie is where it really shines.
And part of me wishes like that was more of the focus. Like, because, you know, we got Han, who we'll get to later, but I mean, he's just, I don't think he could work as the protagonist because he's more the cool, side mentor character.
Yeah, because, he's very much, if we're going with the Star Wars analogy, he's his Obi-Han.
Pat. Okay, Pat, we need to talk. I've talked with the boys, and I hate to tell you, but this is a coup.
A coup?
You are done.
And also just going back a beat to Alabama, you know who we almost could have had as Sean? Channing Tatum, an actual Alabama boy.
Oh yeah, oh boy, he's from what, Aniana or somewhere?
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Like he actually auditioned, but he felt his nerves were so bad that he was blowing it, so he just sort of stopped and walked out.
Oh, that's sad.
But he was really excited because he wanted to learn to drift. He wanted to go to Japan and like learn all this different stuff, but he just felt like he wasn't giving his best during that audition. So he just sort of like, okay, I'm not
fit for this. And
so he sort of just regrettably let it go. But damn, we could have had Channing Tatum in this movie.
And I mean, I know like a lot of people give Channing Tatum shit, but especially for like a big like movie star actor, I mean, he's not bad.
And plus, like, he seems to be a pretty gregarious guy, and like he has he definitely has more of like a presence and like a personality.
Yeah, because that's the problem with Lucas Black. Like, I'm not trying to shit on the guy's character at all, but like he's just kind of a plank of wood.
And plus, we don't know like. I feel like it's not really like the movie gave him much in the way of like an interesting arc.
And the thing is like when the movie tries to give him stuff to do is when it kind of, when you really feel the jank.
Yeah.
Because like when he has more than 2 lines at a time, it's like, oh boy, honey, baby boy, you just need to stop. Please stop talking.
It's just
the
accent's just like super fake and forced, and just like a very just.
I shouldn't have said that.
It's just it's like what you expect a bad Southern accent to be.
Yeah, and I mean it's Fast and Furious. I mean a series that was almost called Race Wars.
God, I will never be able to learn that information. There was a very real possibility that this fucking series could have been called Race Wars Tokyo Drift at a certain point.
Race Wars 3 Tokyo. Like, that is such an absurd fucking title.
And the fact that they still use Race Wars in the first fucking movie.
It's like, it's too insensitive to put on the marquee, but it's not insensitive enough to take out of the movie completely. All right, sure.
And plus, I call a lot of bullshit on Rob Cohen, the original Fast and Furious director, because he was talking mad shit about Tokyo Drift.
Oh, like he has any room to fucking talk, Mr. Hurricane Heist.
No, for real. A quote I have from him about Tokyo Drift was, if you were to just watch Tokyo Drift, you'd say, I never want to see anything Fast and Furious again.
Mr. Cohen, I hate to tell you this, but you canceled. You canceled.
Maybe there's a reason why you only directed one movie and Justin Lin's got
all the credits for this fucking franchise, basically?
Yeah, the one that you started, but he fucking picked up and ran the ball to the end zone.
For real.
But anyhow.
I mean, and if you want to shit on a Justin Lin directed Fast and Furious, this ain't it, Chief.
This is
Spoiler alert, we'll get to that one. I'm still pissed.
But anyhow, Sean meets up with Bow Wow and he goes to the fucking car heliport elevator.
Yeah, it like getting back to what you were saying about like this being like a fucking bougie school. It's like, where, like even in Japan, like what the fuck is this shit? Like it's like this rotating elevator where like how do you even park cars in that thing? I guess it just rotates.
I guess like spot. It's just like it's stable enough for you to pull your card in and out of it, and then it like works like this fucking like gumball machine. You just punch your number and it brings it down like a snack a snack machine. But the biggest thing is, like, how do high school kids get access to, like, not only just cars, but, like, highly customized cars?
Yeah, that's why, like, when they were talking about, like, Paul Walker being too old for the role, it's like, well, maybe it's not the story maybe it's not Paul Walker who's at fault. Maybe it's, we don't need to set this in fucking high school.
Yeah, because, like, it would feel, I mean, of course, we're not in this game for realism, but, like, there's still some stuff that strains credulity, because, like, I'm not going to question if Vin Diesel outruns a fireball, but I am going to question how does a high school kid who hustles, like, advanced sneakers gets, like, and a fucking iPods. Incredible Hulk car?
Oh yeah, we need to get to because, like, up to this point, like, Twink has been hyping this fucking car. It was like, oh my god, let me show you what I got. And then, you know, it's this long build up of going through the little gumball machine elevator car thing. And it's literally just like Dollar Tree, Incredible Hulk, Pimp My Ride minivan.
I mean, it literally has, like, his feet and his hands kind of like, there's like a punching through the metal. It has, like, a little flop of hair on the front of it.
Like I was half expecting Exhibit to jump out of the driver's seat. It's like, hey man, I heard you like Incredible Hulk on your car. Well, here you go.
And just like, okay, I guess there's no accounting for taste.
No. And I mean, granted, this, like we keep saying, this movie is garish as fuck. But, like, and it sounds like we fucking hate this movie, but, like, I guess to sort of get to the things we like, we kind of have to
get through, like, the more, like you said, janky parts. But, like, we're not mad at the Incredible Hulk car. We're just, like, just flummoxed at the audacity of this car exists. And for all we know, it can still be out there. It's like a vehicular Bigfoot and not the monster truck.
Oh my god. I think I found our next road trip.
We find the Incredible Hulk car
from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
So, Twink takes Sean up to the drift club where all the hoodlums bring their, like, whips and their hoons to drift. And also another thing, out of the three people that Sean befriends within 24 hours of coming to Japan, they almost all of them give him just the exclusive right to drive their car.
Oh yeah, it's like, I can count the number of times on my hand I've let someone who's not my family drive my truck.
Like, literally, I know of 2 times I've let close friends drive my car in, like, the over 10 years that I've been driving and had my car. Like,
yeah, and, like, I know at least one of them was my partner at the time. So yeah. It's like, what?
Just like person you barely know is like, here, drive my multi-$1,000 car.
Yeah, and they'll just, like, throw this kid fucking keys. He doesn't even know how to drift. And you know, of course, like, Han is just, like, trying to do some, like, Jedi training shit. And is like, I want to see how he does.
Yeah, because, like, this kid's an empty vessel, so I can mold him to whatever I need him to be.
Yeah, just like the plot.
And so, like, he's like checking this out, and he meets his boo thing. I got not Selena Gomez.
Yeah, she's like knockoff Selena Gomez.
Neela, as she's called, because she's also a fellow army brat, military child,
a fellow gaijin.
And then also homeboy, also within 24 hours movie, pisses off the Yakuza.
God, this boy just has a fucking special talent
of just, like,
being just like a magnet to trouble.
A magnet of trouble, and somehow the most important person in the world.
Wait, are we saying he's a Gary Stu?
I'm not saying anything at all. Maybe the kid is just so blank that you yourself can imagine being transported to Japan and just living out this.
He's literally Link. He is a blank avatar for the viewer to project themselves onto.
And he doesn't say more than just, like, screams and yelps.
And really bad Alabama dialogue. But
so he meets up with the Yakuza kid, pisses him off because he's in a relationship with Neela, I guess. And so, like, we're going to have ourselves a drift off. And then homeboy hits every fucking corner on the way up to the top of the parking garage.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like fucking Karate Kid. gets his ass beat, and then you have to have Mr. Miyagi come in and just be like, all right, wax on, wax off. Let's show you how to do this.
Wait, I forgot. What was the name of the car that he crashes?
The Mona Lisa.
Hey, who painted the Mona Lisa?
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci? That's a TikTok meme.
Oh, never mind.
Anyhow.
Wow, that fell flat.
If you know the Da Vinci Bros, let me know where you're at.
God damn. And like I have TikTok, but I've never seen that one.
We had to incorporate TikTok memes because we're talking about the most famous TikTok song.
Dun, 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 dun. Which, like, honestly, I think like all my praise is just that one song. Like that song is just so good it makes the movie better, and it's only in this movie like twice.
Yeah, it's the initial drift off and then the drift off at the end.
Yeah, and you know, of course, the lead up to the drift off, we have to have the Justin Lin auteur staple, the lesbian makeout in the background.
But which we'll get into in the next film. Why is there always these curious lesbian makeouts? Because we have an AYCH patented theory about why this keeps happening.
Are you saying we have a game theory?
It's a game theory. Fucking hell.
Oh, God.
And so Han is like, yo, I gotta teach this like stick of mud how to drive a car wicked fast.
Yeah, and after this point, the plot just kind of stops for a while, just for like these little random bits. And they're not like random. I mean, they move the story along, sort of, but it's more of just these little. They're not even like episodic vignettes. It's just like scenes that lead to one another, but there's not like a plot yet. Other than just homeboy has to learn how to drift.
Because like Han takes him under his wing. He goes to like, because Han's like obviously a cool guy, but he has his fingers in like some shady shit. Like he's somehow able to get all these cars and then like maintain this sort of lifestyle. Cause he meets his crew. We're going to teach you how to drift. And he ends up bumping in every corner to figure out how to drift. They're drifting in a fish yard, and there's like the old men in the movie that were fishing. They were from.
Weren't they like actually Tokyo drifters?
Yeah, they were like drifting. I think they're involved in, oh god, what's that drifting anime?
Oh, I have no idea.
God damn it. That in itself is a meme. Shit. Anyhow, so he's just trying to he's doing this whole like montage where he's like, again, learn how to drift again.
Like literally the wax on, wax off scene.
And then also we're treated to like Neela waxing poetic about, I was so alone in Japan until I found the Drift Kids Club, and we used to take our cars up here at night and just drift, and we just feel the world at our feet or some shit.
Yeah, and
it's the most substantial dialogue she gets in the whole film, really.
Yeah, because she like we joke that the main character is a plot device, but she is like no joke a plot device.
I guess it's why they're perfect for each other, because they're both completely vacant.
They're just vacant of all humanity. And it's like planks of wood just smacking against each other. And
we learn a bit more about Han, that he's like, he knows DK, he knows the Drift King, because DK, he's not Yakuza, he's Yakuza adjacent, because his uncle Kamada is Sonny Chiba, who's the head of the Yakuza in this area, and so he uses the threat of his gangster uncle to sort of have fake clout.
Like, he's literally the fucking frat bro who you might push at a bar because he's like being an asshole.
He's like, you know who my father is?
And then he'll like fucking try to fucking sue you.
Okay, but let's think. Whose relative has more clout? Sonny Chiba, Yakuza uncle, or Zachary Ty Ryan's father, Tim the Toolman Taylor?
That's a clash of the century. I'd never even thought about.
I mean, they did say the football player's dad, he won't go to jail because his parents are too well connected. When your dad's the head of a
vroom vroom
of a very Republican sitcom. God, how is it that every fucking parent in the South watches Last Man Standing? That can't be just my parents, can it?
Like, I don't know anyone personally who watched. Is that show even on? I know it was like threading threatened to it was like it got canceled, and then Tim Allen threw a bitch fit, and he's like, it's because I'm a Republican, and it's like, no, it's just called your show sucks, Tim.
Yeah, I think CMT picked it up, or it's just syndicated, but I swear that's like half
or like TV Land or some boomer channel.
I swear that's like half of what my parents watch. God love them, but just like, I bought you guys Hulu and you don't fucking watch it other than fucking Blue Bloods. Sorry.
You have all this choice.
And you watch two things.
God damn it.
Anyhow, what were we talking about? Tokyo Drift. And Han, he's actually kind of working on the side piece with the Yakuza keys. There's like some drug money going on in there.
Yeah, or so. It's kind of vague how Han is connected to all this, outside of like plot functionality. But and he mentions at one point at this like fucking soccer field on top of a building in, I guess, Shibuya. Just he's like this is my Mexico, blah blah blah. He sort of had his adventures, but this is sort of his retirement. Yeah,
because I did think it was kind of, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but like I just felt like I really noticed it this second time around. It's like Han's like strangely detached worldview.
Yeah, and that probably will lead into things that will happen in later movies.
Because I feel like, because we haven't seen past 5, but I do know a certain few details, and there are,
and he's a little different, like in 4.
Yeah,
like he's not as sort of just devil may care.
I think there's some stuff they conveniently make retroactively believable through his sort of demeanor in 3, because obviously they didn't plan all this bullshit out.
Oh no. They're making this shit up as they go along.
Yeah, it just so happens they're able to like work the shit back into what was already written. Mm-hmm. But it is sort of like he has a very cavalier attitude about the world, and sort of like he doesn't really care about making money or like getting all these cars or winning. Just sort of like he's kind of.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily like a nihilism, but he's kind of done it all and seen it all. I mean, he's accomplished his goal.
So he's sort of just like he's just in cruise control right now. He's just sort of enjoying the ride, enjoying the scenery.
Yeah, I mean, he's reaping the fruits of his labor.
And at this point, which is like Sean has completed his drifting montage. He beat the Yakuza kid's like right hand man in the parking lot drift where he lost the first time.
Oh yeah.
Which leads to like a scuffle in the schoolyard between Twink and
that kid and the right hand man over like an iPod or something. The details don't matter.
And so it just sort of escalates to like the feud between Yakuza Kid and Sean, and also sort of it shows up this rift between Han that he's apparently stealing money from the Yakuza, as the Uncle Kamada, Sonny Chiba, breaks the news to DK.
Yeah, he's like, you're too stupid to see what Han's doing underneath your nose.
So we need to take care of this, son.
And so this is where the plot kind of picks back up again, where there's this long extended chase sequence that starts with a fight in Han's garage, and then probably, I would say, at least from like an excitement level, like the best part of the movie.
Because this is where Han and Neil are in one car, and Sean and Neil are in a car, and Han is in another, while DK and his right hand is like, they're chasing through like the streets of Tokyo. Which also, it's just sort of funny to think that they chose Japan of all places for a car movie, like the most impractical place to own a car.
Exactly. And it's just like congested with people. But of course, they do fucking drift through Shibuya. Crossing. Which culminates in, they think they got away, and then Han just gets fucking heat shit.
They're able to drift away from the bad guy, but he gets blindsided by another car, and his car flips over. You see all the nitrous leaking out, and the car's on fire. And you see like one last look at Han for the car blows up.
Boom.
And you just see like DK just like sort of sneer and drive off, and everybody's just like, "Oh no, Han, you're the best thing in the movie. How do we go on?"
It's sort of like the escape from the Death Star in Star Wars. No! As Darth Vader kills Obi-Han.
Obi-Han.
Anyway. So, and then from here, like, the movie just, it plods along. Like, I mean, it sort of...
It sets into motion what happens because...
Yeah.
DK falls him back to Sean's dad's house, and it's like, I'm taking my girl back, and then Papa's like, bitch, you thought. He pulls out his Navy Glock on his ass.
God, he fucking pulls like a Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. Get the fuck off my lawn.
So Neela's like, I'll sacrifice myself, and I'll go back to this relationship.
I guess.
Somehow she's connected with him, but we don't ever know why or how. She just is.
In one of her like monologues when she's talking about her life, it was like his family took her family in when, you know, her mom was like on the streets or something like that.
Something. It's not really that important.
Yeah, I mean, we're not here for the plot. It's like a porno.
It's all style. And with occasional substance.
A little bit.
So Sean's like, I need to get the bitch in his ass car in Japan, and I'm going to race old DK for reasons. So, like, he gets Han's gang back together. None of them are really given a point to speak. They're just there. So what they do, they take the car that Sean's dad was working on.
Yeah, it's like this American muscle car.
And they put a Japanese engine in it.
Oh, shit. It's like symbolism, man.
It's like East meets West.
Writing!
So, like, they get the car all souped up. He goes for the drift, but he also goes to meet Uncle Sonny Chiba personally. It's like, hey, we're going to hash this beef out like men in the mountains of Japan.
Like fucking Death Mountain over here.
Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah, where everyone just has like simultaneous phone streaming on their like Nokia flip phones.
Yeah, from like these 2006 flip phones were the first instance of live stream.
Yeah, while like as this movie is retroactively taking place like around 2013, so there's like 8 layers of weird meta on top of all this.
That it's like, okay, because at a certain point in the past, you just have to smile and nod, because that's
like this movie. And you know, this is a subjective thing, but it toes the line. It gets like right up to the precipice of my suspension of disbelief, but then right as it gets to the edge, kind of backs off.
So, because like we said, we like enjoyed this movie. It's just like there's a lot of really silly stuff that we just can't not comment on.
Oh yeah.
And so Sean and DK have their big, tussle in the mountains where they just zip down through all these like hairpin turns, and Sean's able to outdrift the Drift King
and becomes the new DK.
And so Sean he takes his prize, the car, and like not being killed by the Yakuza. And I'm just like, I just like the fact that Sonny Chiba's like, I'm the leader of this giant organized crime ring, and I'm just gonna like respect the word of this teenager,
this fucking American kid.
You know what? Because as Japanese people, we're honorable like that. We just take people at their word.
All right.
So they have another big ass party at the parking deck, and then there's like, hey man, there's a guy here. He knew Han,
and he's like, he wants to race you, and then Sean's like, nah man, I'm not feeling it. Yo, he said Han is family.
He said the F word.
He said the F word. Holy shit! It's Vin fucking Diesel. He's back, baby,
and he's ready to have a drift off with the real Drift King, because he's traveling the world testing out his stuff. And what was crazy about Vin Diesel's cameo in this at the end of this movie is that, one, it's uncredited, and two, the reason why it's there is because the original ending of the film kind of fell flat for test audiences. So they're like, okay, we need to put Vin Diesel in there to sort of reel them back. But what the craziest thing is that Vin Diesel wasn't paid for this role. So, but what they did, instead of giving him money for his 5 minutes into the film, they gave him the rights to the Chronicle of Riddick film and character. That was his payment for being in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Because there was like a lot of fucking... He was fighting the fucking studio for all that shit. Because that was also Universal as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he's just like, hey, if you be in this movie for 5 minutes, we will just give you this franchise.
And he's like, all right, sweet.
And so like they had this big sort of staring contest across the way, and
he's like, this ain't a 10-second race. Hey man, I got all the time, or some bullshit.
What?
And then it has the CG car part credits, and that's Tokyo Drift.
And just some of the cool stuff I learned about the production about the movie is that they brought in Justin Lin because they really appreciated his work on the film Better Luck Tomorrow, which
we might cover later.
We may get into it at a certain point in the future. And they thought he'd bring a lot of like enthusiasm, energy to the film, and plus Justin Lin himself was a big fan of the original. But just like a funny production story is that because Japan has notoriously strict filming restrictions, they didn't get the proper permits to film in a lot of places like Shibuya. So they just went filming without any permission.
They fucking running and gunning.
So they just went in with like, we're just going to fuck it and just do it live. And so like one day when they're filming, the cops showed up, and Justin Lin said the cops were very polite. It took them about 10 minutes to work up to the fact that they were in trouble with the law. But what the thing is, while Lin was talking to the cops about, it was like, yeah, okay, we're not really supposed to be here, blah, blah, blah. What he didn't know is that the studio had hired a fall guy who went up to the cops to say, it's like, yeah, I'm the real director. And then he went to jail in place of Justin Lin so they could keep filming.
What the fuck?
And Justin Lin didn't know.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, it's like fucking Hail Caesar, what's his name? Jonah Hill's character, where he's just like the professional fall guy. And
what's crazy, like, side tangent for that story, do you know the story behind Jonah Hill's character in Hail Caesar? How they talk about the bit of, like, oh, he went to jail for an actor that hit someone with a car?
Oh, no, I don't know the backstory behind that.
The real life story behind that bit is that Clark Gable killed a guy in a drunken accident while driving, and the studio hired a guy to take his place in jail.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because Clark Gable, a very famous actor in Golden Age of Hollywood, also a notorious drunk, and also he had a child out of wedlock. To the day he died, he never accepted her.
Wow, that guy sounds like a real fucking douche.
Yeah, so old Hollywood actors, ain't they a bitch?
Yep. And
just some other stuff, like apparently a early draft of Too Fast and Too Furious was set in Japan.
Okay, recycling ideas.
Well, speaking of recycling ideas, Chris Morgan, one of his early drafts for the film centered around Dom returning to the franchise, learning how to drift, and also trying to solve a murder.
Maybe that will come back.
We might be able to circle back to that.
Maybe we'll circle back to that.
And just one last thing before we move on to the next film is that I want to take a bit to talk about the Japanese names for the Fast and Furious films.
Oh, God, yeah. You were telling me they were fucking crazy before the show.
Yes, so the Fast and Furious films in Japan are known as the Wild Speed movies. So Fast and Furious 1 is called Wild Speed. Too Fast, Too Furious is called Wild Speed times 2.
Okay.
And Tokyo Drift is Wild Speed times 3, Tokyo Drift.
Wild Speed, alright.
The Fast and Furious is called Wild Speed Max, all caps. Fast Fives is Wild Speed Mega Max, all caps.
This is what, like, if I was in charge of naming movies, this is what I would do.
It's like shit, big shit.
Goddamn Omega level bitch shit.
Fast and Furious 6 is called Wild Speed Euro Mission.
Okay.
Furious 7 is Wild Speed Sky Mission.
Oh, okay.
Fate of the Furious is Wild Speed Ice Break. And Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, is called Wild Speed Super Combo.
God, these movies are like fucking re-releases of Street Fighter games.
They're just like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4 Max, Street Fighter 4 Max Ultra Edition,
Street Fighter Supercharged Turbo Alpha Beta Male. Beta!
Also, I just hope they sold combos like the pretzel with the cheese in the middle at the Japanese.
If not, that was a missed opportunity. If they even have those there.
Yeah, like the hot import snack of
fucking combos.
I'm sure there's like whatever the opposite version of a weeboo is, like
a Westaboo,
where the
a marabou,
a marabou, like a Japanese person who's obsessed with American culture. They go to their little corner store, instead of buying Pocky, they buy combos.
Hell yeah. I mean, I eat the shit out of some fucking combos now.
Combos are good shit. So that's kind of the heads and tails of Tokyo Drift. So before we move on, what are sort of like our last wrapping up impressions of Tokyo Drift?
As far as like the first trilogy, this is my favorite. I say it's my favorite, but there's a lot of weird bullshit in the first two movies that are just so fucking fun. Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things you can tell they were kind of struggling to get some sort of identity out of this franchise, and probably even didn't know if it was going to continue, because wasn't this the least selling box office wise? Because
this was a flop at the box office. It almost killed the franchise because it was made for $85 million and only made $62.5 million domestically. But due to strong international sales and DVD sales, which kind of bumped the worldwide gross to $158.5 million, it gave the studios enough of an incentive to at least try again. But the franchise was on like trepidatious waters after this film.
Yeah, I mean, after this, it was basically on life support.
Which is like, to me, the first three is probably my second favorite, because like, obviously 2 is objectively not a good movie, but it's fun as shit.
I will say it's objectively the worst, but it's not my least favorite out of the ones we've seen.
Yes, because like there's so much silly, goofy bullshit in 2 that like kind of makes up for it. It's like
it's got enough memes for days.
And like Tokyo Drift is obviously to this point the most technically proficient. Like, it looks good, it has a good soundtrack, and like it's obviously a more well put together film.
Yeah, now that I say that, I think I like the first one probably better, because at least the first one had characters. Like, they're not realized characters, but I mean, they had like charisma and presence.
Like, everyone felt like they even if they were like one note, they kind of feel like they had more substance in a character than hardly anybody in the movie, save for Han.
Or they had like some sort of charisma that carried them in the lack of substance. But yeah, outside of Han, there's like none of the characters really stand out, and that's probably the reason why Han is the only holdover for the most part from this film. It
is sort of funny to think until the fourth movie, this franchise feels almost anthological.
Yeah, because, and I mean, part of that is just each movie is different in its, creative team. Because, I mean, different directors each time bringing their own flair and their own style and investment to the project. But, yeah, it's not until really, I would probably argue 5, that it actually has a sense of identity.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like 5 is when they really hit their stride, because like they take everything they learned from the first 4, and then they really sort of like coalesce that into like this awesome crystal of what the franchise is and would carry on to be. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We will get to Fast 5 in time.
God, can we talk about it? Can we skip fucking 4?
Well, we have to get to we can't skip ahead of the road. We have to talk about Fast and Furious, which debuted in theaters April 3rd, 2009, also directed by Justin Lin, which sees the return of the core cast from the first Fast and Furious. We had Vin Diesel as Dom Toretto, Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty, and then Jordana Brewster as Mia. And we see like the core 4 return to the film. But what we didn't get our first viewing of the film was we actually, on the second go around, we watched the short film directed by Vin Diesel, Los Bandoleros, which sort of gives you more insight or like more material to like why you have these new characters or why are pulling this heist.
It's mostly the two Dominican guys because
Leo and Santo.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't really. That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they really say their names, even though they're only in the movie for 10 minutes.
Like they say their name. I know they say their names in the short film.
Yeah,
which TBH should have been in the fucking movie.
They probably could have just tacked that on. Unless I just felt like
because like it felt like it felt like a nice build up to like a first act climax type thing. Like,
yeah,
you know, with the big chase sequence instead of the chase sequence being the I don't know what would work. I will say the first time watching this movie I was like, all right, you know, it's there, like I don't hate it, but God, just trying to sit through it this second time, it was a fucking slog.
It's like this when we watched it for the show. This is technically my third time. I remember the very first time I watched it with my sister years ago, I felt like super ambivalent. The first time we watched it earlier in the year, I felt more positively about it. And this third time, I'm somehow in the middle. Like, I don't dislike it, or I'm not as, like, indifferent to it. But, like, I really feel like it's sort of... I feel like this is my final sort of impression of the movie. It's like, it's not a bad film in any way. It's just just like, it doesn't really have the same sort of feeling or character because this is essentially a soft reboot of the franchise at this point. That's why they brought these old characters back, and that's why they're sort of revisiting sort of like
old dynamics.
I mean, literally, it's so large of a reboot, they essentially redo the plot of the second movie because you have a cop and an ex-con trying to infiltrate a drug ring by being street racers, which is what they did in the second film.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near as fun
because I guess to sort of counteract the failings of the third film is that it's a much more somber movie.
Yeah, it's definitely the movie that tries to take itself way too seriously, and that to me hamstrings the movie because. I mean, like, while, like, I'm just sort of invested in this movie by proxy, this franchise by proxy, like, that's not the reason I come to this. It's for the weird, wacky fucking bullshit. And outside of, like, a few things here or there, this movie, while, like, on a technical level, is far and beyond better than the
previous films.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, there's, like, a coherent plot, like, and things like that, but, like... It should, like I said, it just takes itself way too seriously, but it still has like a couple moments of just weird, goofy bullshit. But it also tries to take itself really seriously with
like you know, at the start of the film, it has this giant, crazy heist scene where they try to steal gas from these like somehow 10-part oil rig while going 100 miles per hour down a mountain. It was like which is like this absurd, over the top like thing that you would expect from Fast and Furious. But then once it sort of kicks into the plot proper, it's a very sort of like not meditative, but like it's a very like down to earth, grounded story, despite having some really batshit stuff happening in it.
Yeah, but the movie expects you to take that batshit stuff 100% seriously, and it just kind of makes me roll my eyes and be like, "All right, come on."
After this movie is where we realize, okay, what we're doing is batshit insane, and we're going to play it completely as such.
Yeah, and to me, that's when the fucking series gets fucking great. Is when it finally accepts that, oh yeah, these movies are not great, but we're just going to crank the anime level up to fucking 11.
Because like, goddamn, you're going to have a good time, or
it is the fucking apex of popcorn cinema. But like here, it's trying to be like, I don't want to say legitimate movie because that sounds like an insult, but.
Like it's definitely the most restrained a Fast and Furious film is ever going to be.
Yeah, and I want to go butt fuck wild. It's like, come on,
we have one.
You have the technology,
and plus, like another, like we said, we talked about how Chris Morgan had the plot of like Dom coming back and solving a murder, which is sort of what this movie is. So he recycled an old script from Tokyo Drift into its own film. Because we have, after the big heist and the Dominican Republic, Dom sort of realizes the danger because like all these big crazy ass antics, unsurprisingly, draw us to the look of the cops. So like we got to find a way to figure out what we want to do from here on. Do we want to keep going on with this lifestyle, or do we want to find a way to settle down and escape? And so like Han's there for the heist, and he's like, he sends him on his way. Time for you to do your own thing. Wink. And so he has this moment with Letty. It's like, well, what we do? This is too dangerous. It's like, I'm the big man. I got to tell my lady that it's too dangerous for her to be out here. But I'm gonna still keep on with my bullshit.
Yeah, and then she leaves,
he leaves,
that's right. He leaves her, and then and he ends up finding out through his sister Mia that Letty is murdered.
It's like just abruptly dead. Which at this point is kind of like fuck, because Michelle Rodriguez is like a really cool action actress, and unfortunately, almost, I'm not saying all of her characters, but like a significant portion of her characters that she plays are badass women that inevitably end up dead at some point in their movie or their franchise. So like she's getting almost feel like, well, shit, another movie where her cool badassness is kind of squandered.
Yeah, and it's like, it'd be one thing if this was like sort of like the sort of darkest moment before the rise in Act 2, but it's basically the inciting incident of the movie, where it leads to this fucking scene where fucking Vin Diesel, Dom Toretto, goes fucking full Sherlock and is like fucking Benedict Cumberbatch, like reconstructing the fucking crash scene in his mind and shit. Because
he goes to the scene of the crime, somehow finds a clue that even the fucking FBI missed, which is like a pile of like fun dip on the floor, which is called nitro meth.
Like, yeah, like
they're putting meth in the nitrous now.
You gotta ramp it up sometime. The trade-off is your cars are about to start committing copper theft.
The car just falls apart because it goes so fast. That's replaced that with copper wiring from trailers. Which, by the way, that's an Alabama bit for y'all out there. Because
I gotta imagine people like, that's oddly specific.
Yeah, because there's a good chance if you live in Alabama, you know someone who's arrested for copper theft.
Or you're adjacent to someone who knows somebody who's been arrested for copper.
Also, meth use.
Oh, yeah. A lot of meth around here.
Whoopsie. But anyway,
you remember the time that we had like a legit guy named Walter White who made some like apparently like badass meth?
Yes, and he was from Alabama.
He was in fucking God, that was fucking wild.
Art imitating life, imitating art, imitating life.
It's just Ouroboros, just the snake eating its own tail.
So yeah, Dom's grief and guilt over sending Letty away somehow has awakened galaxy brain in his ass.
Yeah, and how we find out it's fucking nitro meth is like he fucking like licks, like, sticks his finger in it and licks it like it's, I don't know, orc blood or something.
And so like from there, like you said, he just imagines this crash where Letty dies. And so I know exactly where this came from, who installed the nitrous in the car. And excuse me. Never mind the fact that his ass hasn't lived in the States for over 5 years, but he goes to the exact spot, to the exact person that installed this in the car. Lickety split.
Oh yeah, and meanwhile, like Brian O'Connor, he's working with. Is it the FBI?
The FBI.
Yeah, I knew it was some sort of federal agency. And, they're trying to get this guy named Braga, and their paths are interconnected. But, like, you bringing up Dom finding the guy who installed the nitro meth and the blah, 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 leads to another scene that's just like, all right, what the fuck? Where, he starts whooping up on the guy, and the guy's like, I'm not telling you shit! And fucking Vin Diesel, like, grabs a chain that has like a fucking engine block attached to it, like, lets it go, but then catches it right before it crushes this dude's head.
And the thing is, without taking his eyes off the guy, so like he drops the chain, lets the block jaw just enough, he like grabs the chain back without looking. So he's just like his brain is just like encompassing the galaxy, where he just like his powers have a height.
He's like, this is the beginning of him turning into goddamn Superman. Because like like Vin Diesel's a buff dude, but he ain't stopping that shit once it starts falling. At least not the way he does it, where he's like hand behind his back, just one hand's this bitch.
Yeah, it's like it is funny as restrained as the movie tries to be, like the high tier anime bullshit is just like busting from the scenes, bubbling up from the floorboards.
God, and then just it splooges all over 5. But we'll get to that one next time. But yeah, so like we're just gonna kind of blast through this
because I usually take notes for these movies that have like all this behind the scenes stuff and like how this and that happened. Like mostly my notes for 4 are just like the bits we had. Because God, there were so many good bits we were just talking about.
Yeah, because we just got bored and we were just sort of bantering off each other to the point where by the end of it we were creating, gay /fics for Dom and Brian.
Because like they're super fucking gay. They're gayer than they ever been in the movies up to this point.
And the gayness is just going to continue. Like I mean. It's like just that fucking trope in movies where like the dude bros have such like this passionate relationship, but then when they are like with their love interest, it's just so they're tepid. Like bleh. Yeah, it's like you said, very tepid.
But we're expected to believe this whole time that these are like rock hard machismo dudes who just love fucking and they love boobies, but realize. Like they're just sort of blasé whenever they see like lesbians quote making out in the corner, but every time they see each other, just like all handsy, they're just talking real close and deep to each other. But it's like, oh yeah, they're like we love the ladies. Because like there's a great bit toward the beginning of the film where Mia and Brian reconnect, and like it essentially sounds when it starts like I can't keep doing this, Brian. It sounds like she's tired of being Brian's beard.
It does like. She's like, you're just using me to get to my brother. That's all this is. Or that's the subtext of the scene. It's like, I won't be.
It's like, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you imagining you're fucking Dom through fucking me, Brian.
God.
Because honestly, I feel like everybody in the movie would be a lot happier. They just swap partners. Dom and Brian hook up, and then me and Letty hook up. Everybody would be a lot happier.
Everyone would be a lot happier, and goddamn, if they just fuck. There's so much fucking sexual tension in this movie.
How many movies have we talked about in this show where all the drama would just be resolved that people just fucked?
Probably about 90% of them.
It's like half. That's how you can solve a lot of problems in the world if you just like fuck your problems.
It's like, I mean, stop repressing them, people. But as long as it's consensual.
It's a consensual. That's what's important.
Yes, and we came to the conclusion that fucking Dom's a power bottom.
What else would Dom be?
He's a power bottom, and then by the end, they got a fucking like ripcord anal beads out of fucking Brian's ass. Like when I say we went hog wild with this, we went hog wild.
Yeah, because like we just imagine like the dick going in the butt, and it's like you see like the like in the car starts up, the nostril and all to do is just the blood filling up the cock as it goes into the butt,
or just like the fucking semen shooting in his ass.
Because they just
content warning, gay shit.
Yeah, if you don't like gay shit,
get the fuck out.
Because they should have just called this series Fast and By Furious, honestly.
I mean, exactly.
Because, like, everybody's just, like, running... Yeah, we're not talking about the plot anymore. It's just, like, how fucking horny everybody this is. High-key and low-key horny for people in this movie. Because Dom, they're just giving just passionate eyes and, like, don't get in my way. And just talking, like, sweet nothings to each other. And it's just, and plus, like, at the end of the movie, Brian has Dom's cross in his car. The cross that he gave to his girlfriend.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And plus when...
And then plus, like, Dom and Brian have more chemistry than they do with their partners.
Yeah, like, when after the news break that Letty was working with Brian to, like, clear Dom's name to get, like, a pardon, they have, like, this passionate moment, just like beat each other up, and then
she did it for you, Dom. She did for you.
And then Brian and Mia have like lifeless sex in the kitchen, and the whole time Dom's just sitting outside. He could have put me on the counter. That could be my ass mashing the bread in the grocery sacks.
My ass cheeks could be the imprint on that fucking bread right now. God damn it.
Oh, also, speaking of horny, that one racer guy got arrested by Brian for sucking toes.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I'll say that's what he got arrested for. That bitch going to horny jail. But yeah, and this scene didn't really play that well, given, a lot of the police shit going on.
Yeah, because
how they get him is like Brian fucking plants coke on him, and I'm like,
yeah, because this is definitely an abuse of your power as like a federal agent. It's sort of like it's meant to be funny, and it is because it's so like just dude sucking toes. But like also in the climate where we live, even if the dude's a bum, a cop can't overextend himself just to fuck with them. And plus, it's especially weird when he went in the Bandoleros short film that they pretty much say ACAB and fuck the military industrial complex.
Oh yeah, that was just fucking weird. That it's like one of the, I think it was Leo, one of the Dominican guys, gives this like impassioned speech at the opening of that short film that, it's literally fuck the police and, I'm braver than the troops. So it's like,
of course,
you're sending mixed messages here, race wars.
Fucking Christ. God, yeah, and there's like some bullshit where like, oh, we gotta gain entrance to the drug lord by racing, and like they race in the city and people get fucking mutilated, and these like the most extra fucking car crash you could ever imagine, like outside of the Aston Martin crash in Casino Royale. They're all that tier crash.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, the whole point of the race is, like, at the beginning, they're like, oh, who's going to block off the roads? And they're like, no one. So they're literally racing with civilians.
Yeah, they're just, like, just open carnage in the streets of California or wherever the fuck they are. And so they get in.
But this, like, happens, like, a third of the way through the movie. And then the only, like, car action past this point is just in fucking tunnels.
Yeah, these absurdly spacious mine tunnels in the border to Mexico and to California.
Something like that. It's very vague.
Yeah, everything is just geographically and vague in general. Because they meet it with the drug lord and his like, or not the drug lord, like the guy is like, I'm the guy who works for the drug lord who tells everybody what to do.
But he's actually the drug lord.
So swerve?
Swerve!
Even though really their main beef is with Phoenix, the guy who's like the drug lord.
So it's like his body, like his hitman.
Like his lieutenant, like his like number one guy. And
also he's the guy who kills Letty.
Yeah, because he admits that to Don when he gets to the other side after they get raced through the tunnel. Also, Phoenix is a comrade. Like he has an inexplicable hammer and sickle tattoo on his neck.
It's just the fucking American propaganda trying to smear our comrade's name. No, I'm not going to do that. But yeah.
Also, it's the film debut of Gal Gadot. She's Giselle, the mysterious woman who works for the drug.
Was this her first movie, or was this like? I know this is her first movie.
It's her first movie in the Fast film. I want to say I read this was her first film, but like either way, she's this cool, mysterious woman who's like, I know,
femme fatale.
I know what's going on, and I know more than I let on, and weird sexual tension with Dom, even though he outright says like something really bisexual.
Like the thing is like the sexual tension is just a one-way street. It only goes one way, and that's her for him.
Yeah,
he is just not interested.
And plus, getting back to our theory that we mentioned earlier, that Dom's like denial of his sexuality is so strong. He's so deep in the closet that it's just distorting the world around him. Because like
he just disassociates that hard.
Because like that's why every time you see like. Every time he goes there, just all these hot ass girls just like mushing their titties on his head, and they're like randomly making out in the corner because there's always an obligatory lesbian makeout, and he's just like completely numb to it. But like the whole time he's thinking like, "Oh Carter, man, y'all need to do my baby boy right and make his
let me rip that cord out your butt."
Yeah, I just need a tight close up on his baby blues, man. Just like get really in there, make him pop for me.
I just want to throw it back. Just throw it back real hard. But speaking of that, like that I don't know what made me think of this, but you remember like the time back to the Los Bandoleros, the outside of like the fucking ACAB and fucking military industrial complex messages towards the beginning, it's basically like Reference City.
Yeah, because he's in Dominican. And they're like they freed one of the Dominican brothers from jail. Like also
the easiest prison break ever.
Like literally, they just like cut a chain link fence and he just walked his ass out. That's it.
It's like, all right.
Well, shit. Where they did that in 5 seconds, it took them 7 goddamn seasons on Prison Break.
And I'm sure, like, in that fucking show, they escaped and then they pulled a Lost. We gotta go back!
We gotta go back to prison.
To escape again!
So anyway, they have, like, a big party to celebrate, and he's getting all schmoozed on by girls, and you see a woman walk up, and it's like, you know what? I always know how to find you, Dom. I just follow the odor of skanks.
You know, because it's a callback to the first movie!
Yeah, because there's, like, of course, because this is the soft reboot, they're throwing, like, little winks, and...
But it's only in the short film that... was this, like, played? I guess it was, like, on the internet somewhere? Yeah, or how was this released?
It might have just been with the DVD. I remember reading that Dom it was like, Vin wanted to film 4 and 5 back to back, but the studio's like, oh, well, we got, stuff happens, we can't really do that, but... in order to make you feel better, you can direct this little short and we'll put on the DVD. And he's like, okay.
Yeah. Because, seeing as how, like, this movie leads into 5, I'd see where Vin Diesel's wanting to, why he would want to do that. I also see the studio as well, seeing as how, the last movie didn't do so hot.
They really wanted to see how well this performed. It's like, we pour another millions of dollars into, like, another thing if we don't know this one's going to for sure kick off. But yeah, like getting back to the original point, because we're all over the fucking place with this one.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't really give a fuck.
Because we're just, we'll get to the end. We're just taking like the family circus, like loopity-loop, polka dot.
We're following the pig trails
to it. Where half the movie is them sort of like setting, or half the short of Los Bandoleros is setting up like the big score at the start of the film, but also like Dom and Letty's sex adventure.
I guess,
like weird softcore island sex romance, which is it's funny that like it's the most like film we see. Michelle Rodriguez is always sort of like it's like I'm a tough girl. I got grease on my cheek. I'm a badass. But it's like she's very soft, romantic in this one. So he has like a little fucking lady scarf and she's blowing out the window in his convertible. And then they have like they're just like on the beach, like fucking in the sand in the ocean.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the time when they just start fucking while he's driving.
Oh, fuck! They're, like, literally she hops on his dick while his ass is driving down the road, like, they're making out, like, in front of him, and then, like, they're just going 80 miles per hour.
Yeah, like, doing that shit that fucking, like, that couple on Pornhub when they were trying to do the self-driving feature on the Tesla and about killed people.
And there's no damn computer in Dom's car. But just like, shit, the one time he's actually like horny for women is when his life's in mortal peril.
I guess.
But like, also the movie just ends, that Los Bandoleros just ends.
Yeah, it's like, excuse me. It's just like, I don't know, like, it's like building up to something, and I figured like it would end on something like big to sort of lead into.
To be that bridge.
To be that bridge, but it just kind of stops.
Yeah,
it's not until you really start the movie proper that it's like, okay, I see where this ties in, but it's not. It feels very segregated at the same time.
Yeah, like you understand, like where these characters come from, like where Han's girlfriend, how she helps out, and then how like the Dominican brothers, how they're involved at all, because like literally they're just introduced out of nowhere at the start of the film. We see where they come from in the Los Bandoleros. It's just.
And then they're just like not in the movie after the big chase scene at the beginning.
Yeah, so like literally for almost 2 hours they're not present in the plot at all.
Yeah, but
speaking of the plot, we might want to get back to it just sort of to tie everything up. So yeah, they do the whole like rendezvous in the desert. Dom blows up his car to get like a distraction to escape. Fucking no sells a gunshot wound to the shoulder.
Oh my god, he's fucking bionic, man. Just like fucking he just doesn't like you said, no cells. Just gets shot in the shoulder and like shrugs it off like it's an ant bite.
And so we get to the point where they go back to California and they go at to Dom's house. They figure out, oh, Letty was sort of trying to get by Dom's pardon by doing the same thing they are now. And so they work out a scheme to hide the cocaine they were going to pilot with the cartel, but they hide it in the evidence locker in the impound lot. And then fucking Brian O'Connor's foil in the FBI, the fucking agent not Jeremy Renner, like, little shit. It's like, yeah, we got a sting where we're gonna draw out the bad guy, but also I'm gonna fuck it up, but you're gonna take all the blame for it.
Oh yeah.
And then we realized that the little strimpy guy was actually the real Braga the whole time, and the old man they met was just like an actor, like the very Iron Man 3.
Yeah. You know, shenanigans ensue. There's big chase scene through these tunnels and whatnot, and which leads to one of the gnarliest moments of the movie, where like at this point, Brian and Braga have made it out of the tunnels. Their cars are fucked.
Yeah, because Phoenix fucking punches their car through a cave wall out to the other side.
Oh yeah, and then, you know, Vin Diesel fucking rides up, you know, is facing down Phoenix, and Phoenix turns his gun on Vin Diesel. Fucking Vin Diesel pops a wheelie to block the bullets. And right as Phoenix is about to escape, fucking Brian holds him down as the fucking Vin Diesel bisects this guy with a fucking car.
Like, kills the fuck out of him. Just like, literally, like, slams into him and pins up against the other car. Just, motherfucker is dead. D-E-D, dead.
D-E-D, dead. And then followed by Vin Diesel saying, pussy. Yeah, because it's like, well, I'm sorry that not everyone can just fucking take bullets and not act like nothing happened.
I feel like the way he said that had to have been like you know, I'm throwing your words back at you, bitch. But I honestly don't remember if Phoenix said that.
I don't know.
So I feel like
it felt like a badass line to sort of cap off that part of the movie.
I'm sure. So like, yeah, everybody's all mangled up except for Dom. His shirt isn't even greasy from this whole fucking debacle because, you know, he's protected. So,
however, he's not protected from the law.
So yeah, the all Johnny Law and all the cops and copters show up. They haul his ass out, and he gets sentenced to 25 years to life.
Even though they promised that if he, you know, Brian basically made a deal to where if he helps them and they succeed, then Dom will get off scot-free. But the judge was like, nah, you a menace to society. You going to jail.
Yeah, you stealing all those TVs and DVD players is fucked up, man.
Yeah, because, you know, who's fucking hurting from those goddamn DVD players?
Yeah, they just, like, knocked over a fucking Best Buy truck. Also, they continue the same trend that from the first movie that every fucking truck driver is just strapped. They all got a fucking Glock or a sawed-off shotgun, just like ready to like blow somebody the fuck off.
I mean, you never know when someone's going to steal your shipment of DVD players, Pat,
or your pet iguana, apparently.
That too.
But yeah, so like Dom gets sent off to the same prison he said he would rather die than go back to.
Yeah, and then, you know, holds on shots of Brian looking all distraught, like, you know, because his himbo boyfriend's going to jail. And then, you know, the movie ends with Vin Diesel on the prison bus going to prison, but then looks out the window and guess what's surrounding the bus but all the fucking cars, and we got Mia, we got Brian, and someone else. I don't remember.
It's the Dominican brothers.
Oh, the Dominican brothers, yeah. And then smash cut to credits, end of movie. Thank God. and like I said, it's not a bad movie. Like, out of the entire films up to this point, it's the most competent, but it's so milquetoast compared to the bullshit in the first few.
And just imagine using the descriptor like milquetoast to explain what happened in this movie, because or this franchise, because the movies are just so buck wild, but this one just feels really ordinary.
Yeah, and I feel like our commentary and retelling of the movie is more exciting than the actual movie itself. It very much feels like even though it's like a soft reboot, it feels more like a transition movie more than anything.
Yeah, because this is sort of the end of the Brian doing the will they won't they lead the police for a life of crime.
Yeah, they finally end that here, thank God, because that was starting to get stale.
So I think in a way it does its job from reinvigorating the franchise, because at this point the movie is a major commercial success. This is sort of restarted the series, re-familiarized everyone with the faces they knew from the first installment. So, it did its job. But it like you said, it definitely feels like this sort of stopgap between what was Fast and Furious and what Fast and Furious will become.
Yeah, it tries to take bits of both ends and doesn't take necessarily the best bits of both ends.
So it just feels very safe, like a lot of reboots tend to be. It's they want.
And I mean that it makes sense in that aspect,
because they wanted to make something they knew would sort of cement the sort of the franchise in order to keep it going. Because of course, so it's understandable in a way, but still you still kind of have to quote get through it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'll be just to say, Fast 5 was my first Fast and Furious movie.
That's a hell of a movie to start with.
And literally, that's the first one I ever watched. And without getting too much into it, we'll save that for next time. But I'm just gonna say, you can start with Fast 5 and still be okay. But of course, you won't have the certain emotional payoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, the first 4, they have their moments, but it's not until next time where we get.
It's where we really go. When we say balls to the wall at different points, we mean it. But they crank the crazy knob. They crank that bitch to 13 and just keep turning.
Yeah, the dial fucking breaks and it just keeps spinning. God, when we get to it, there was a part at the end of 5 where me and Pat were screaming for 15 minutes straight.
Like we said, we're hyping that Fast 5 because that is very much, that's going to be a blast to get to. But we still have to get there. So, closing thoughts on Fast 4. So, I guess up to this point, maybe should we just say where we find our rankings to be?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Shit. To me, 1 and 3 are close towards the top.
Yeah.
Then 2, then 4.
I think for me, it's...
Especially after this rewatch.
I think for me, it's 1, 3, 4, 2.
Which, makes sense. I just love the fucking wacky bullshit in 4. I mean, not 4, 2.
And it's not to say that 2, 2 is bad, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just there's some stuff in 2 that kind of to me, I feel the weight a little bit more than 4 in certain places.
Yeah, I get that.
But obviously, we had a good time throughout all of these, whether it's from the film itself or just sort of inventing a good time. But I feel the first 4 are all fun. Please seek these out. If
this is your speed, honestly, this is definitely not for everyone. And honestly, I didn't think this series was going to be for me, but it is just it finds that right level of bullshit meter in my brain that just fucking clicks.
Because I'm very much a big fan of hyperbole and over the top bullshit, and I'm a person who has a very high tolerance for silly bullshit, even in more straightforward films.
Yeah.
So
just I know we'll probably say this with every movie we get to.
Yeah.
But if you're going to watch this series and you're kind of skeptical, you kind of have to go in. You have to come at it with a mindset from the movie's perspective. You can't come in with your own sort of expectations of what a movie should be. You should meet it at its own level.
And definitely, you definitely have to roll with the punches that film gives you, because and plus, you just have to take for a fact that the movie, it's silly. Even when 4 is trying to take itself seriously, it's still really silly.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely, you kind of have to take it as it comes. And I think from where the series goes, it just goes even harder.
Yeah, and if someone were to say, I don't see what you see in this is just fucking stupid and immature, I can't argue with them.
I mean, no, like any criticism people have about these movies is like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like we agree, but it's just, I don't know, it's, everyone has their own trash, and this is our trash.
Yeah, because like, whether or not Fast and Furious is for you, like everybody has something they knowingly embrace and enjoy and fully acknowledge and are fully aware of all the flaws it has.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to say guilty pleasure because I don't like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a term I'm sort of like migrating out of my vocabulary.
Because I mean, you shouldn't feel guilty for the things you like, and I don't feel guilty for liking this. This shit's fun as shit.
No, like no shame. These movies are fun, and I enjoy every fucking second, and I can't wait to see where we go, and I can't wait to get to Fast 5.
And I guess on that note, that's going to be a wrap for this double feature.
We hope you enjoyed this double feature, and we appreciate you joining us today and on our journey on the road so far, and please continue to join us as we continue the rest of this franchise. Thank you so much for listening today. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, and any RSS feed catcher out there. Please sure to like, rate, review, subscribe on all those platforms. It really helps us out, spreads the word around, puts us higher in the algorithm, puts us in front of new faces, new ears, and just keeps the show going and spreads the banter around. We do appreciate that tremendously. And while we're at it, please follow us on our socials on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast, on Letterboxd and Facebook at AllYouCanHear, on Twitch at twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and on YouTube also at AllYouCanHear. And lastly, you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name, and follow my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and JohnOwnSon12 on Letterboxd.
So, thank you so much for joining us today. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.